Hello friends, and welcome to another Budget With Me video where I show you my actual budget that I use and how much I'm spending where in an effort to be more transparent about money on the internet, because I don't know about you, but I'm nosy about how other people spend their money, what kind of goals they're looking forward with their money, and kind of what they're doing at different parts in their life. So here's mine. I'm also going to show you my net worth spreadsheet and everything that's going on there. So let's get into it. If you don't know me, I'm Sarah Wilson, also known as Budget Girl, and I've been talking about my money on the internet for the past 10 plus years. And when I started, I was making $1,600 a month. As a newspaper reporter, I make a little bit more now. So let's jump into how much I actually do make. First off, I am an assistant director of marketing and communication at Texas A&M, where I brought home $5,243.36 from my day job income. I also have this channel, Budget Girl, from which I made $686.53. And I also have some real estate investment properties. I have the duplex that I live in now, which I live in one side, rent out the other side of. And I did that back in 2022, bought a duplex, lived in one side, rented out the other. And 4 years later, I bought this one. So now I rent out both sides of the other one. I did have to evict somebody this month though, which sucked. I never wanted to have to do that, but it's part of the game. So from that, I made $3,600, bringing my total income to $9,529.89. Not too bad. That is before any mortgage expenses, just FYI. Let's move down to my personal expenses. And I do believe in a zero-based budget, which means we give every single dollar a job. That might not be within this main purple category that you see here in my budget, but at the end of it, every single dollar gets either allocated to savings or investing or spent, so that at the end of the month, we have made a job for every single dollar that we brought in income. And hopefully we're in the black on that and don't have to pull from savings. By the way, you can get my spreadsheet budget on my Etsy shop. It's a one-time purchase that you can duplicate and reuse forever. I used it to pay off $33,000 worth of debt and now build up we'll see what my net worth is. I've already forgotten. But I also sell the net worth trackers there as well, and some other fun digital printables. So check that out if you would like. That link will be below. First, let's start with my giving category. I usually budget about $150 for that. And for this month, I spent $138.77. I sent $20 to my old kind of off-brand sorority social club from college. They were doing a fundraiser. I also sent a care package, and then I filled up a little free food pantry for $96, and I'll have that video here. I post those on Instagram and TikTok. On Instagram, you can find me at Go Budget Girl. On TikTok, you can find me at Budget Girl, and I also post them here sometimes. So check out my shorts. Next, going all the way down, I spend $43.72 on my phone. I have Mint Mobile, which I've used for years, and I really enjoy. It gets charged every 3 months. So the $43.72 is the 1 month allocation for that. And I actually have an affiliate code below. I really love it. I've never had an issue with the service from them, and it's cheaper. I used to have the Walmart Straight Talk, and that was great for a while. Why pay like the name brand prices for cell phone service when you can use the off brand? Same thing. It's the literal same towers. So check that out if you haven't used them before. Next, I paid $89.82 for some gas and an oil change. Electrical was $325.57, and that's for this unit and the one next door. They're on the same tower, so everything's included in the rent for my tenant on the B side. I spent $436.04 on groceries, which is $30 over budget, which is not bad. Last month, I was under by about $80, so I'll take it. In personal, I spent $325 on a variety of, let's just call it what it is, bullshit. I bought a new laundry basket. I got a little portrait drawn of Rory on Etsy. I had to buy her a new dog bed because she ruined hers. I got some insoles. Oh, it looks like I put laundry basket on there twice. Hey, I'll take that. Let's see how that settles out. I bought a little piece of stained glass. Oh, dang it. It looks like some of this stuff got copied in here twice, and I don't know why, or pasted in here twice. I did not spend as much in personal as I thought I did. Well, that's why it's a good thing to go back over your budget. Okay, I only spent $174 because for whatever reason, I guess this got copied and pasted down. I think I think I accidentally pasted it or wrote it in the next month's budget when I opened it because I was reconciling at the end of the month, and maybe I didn't realize I'd already put it in. Well, that's great. That's going to give me a little bit of wiggle room, which we'll figure out what to do with. In restaurant, I spent $199.99 out of my $200 budget. That was not intentional, but that's nice. And then I spent $51 on clothing. I got some new Skechers, which are I got some black little stretchy flats for work, and I bought them off of eBay actually. They were new in box, just cheaper that way. Always shop secondhand first, friends. And I spent $39.36 on gas for the house, and $13 on Kindle Unlimited, $2 on Apple storage, and $126 on miscellaneous, which was, I did get some new glasses because mine were really scratched up, and those were $28 from Zinni. And then, oh, this is right, I got COVID this month. And so I had to do a doctor on demand. I had to get some prescriptions. That was not fun. I did not enjoy that. I was traveling for FinCon, and as soon as I got back, I got COVID. I don't know if I caught it at the conference, in the airport, or what. I promptly gave it to Jacob. Not my finest hour. He gave me COVID in 2020 though, so my total expenses are just under $1,700 for this month, and that equates right out to about 50% of my overall budget, which is good. That's fantastic. Because I house hack, I don't have a mortgage expense really. I think I spend like $70 a month on this place, which is great. That's house hacking has been one of the things that's been able to free up a ton of my income to let me meet other money goals for the past 5 years. So you can see up here that I don't have a mortgage expense because it's covered by my renters. Wait, before anyone gets mad at me, I spend a lot of money on this house. It's just not on the mortgage. So next up is my savings buckets, which is about 20% of my income, or 20% of my budget. I put $500 a month into kind of a future investment account to buy another real estate property one day. That's exactly how I bought this place. I put $500 a month every month for 4 years, and then I had the down payment saved for this place, which was great. And then I put $250 a month into a wedding fund account that Jacob also contributes to, and then that totals out to $750 for savings. Next, my investments total out to 30% of my budget, which is, I feel like that's kind of a flex. That's amazing. If you guys have been here for a while, you haven't met me before, when I started this channel, I was making $1,600 a month as a newspaper reporter, and I had $33,000 worth of debt. And I have documented my way crawling and clawing out of that, gradually making more money, but not letting my lifestyle increase according to as I made more money and paid off debt and bought more assets. And it's just, I'm very lucky to be where I am, and I have worked very hard for it. And it is a huge blessing to be able to put 30% of my budget into investments. And that's going to continue to benefit me throughout the rest of my life, even if I have to stop investing or not being able to invest that much in moving forward for any reason. So I put $583 into a Roth IRA to max that out every year, and then $500 into a brokerage account, and I'll show you the balances on those. Totals out to $3,524. Now let's move into my businesses. First is Budget Girl, which you're watching me here. Hello, thank you so much for joining me. I made $269.57 off of YouTube. I cashed out some income that I had made through a creators agency, which is an agency that I work with to get like sponsorships and stuff like that. All of this money was just from Microsoft Start, which they repurpose some of my videos sometimes or cull content from it. And they paid me out $317.67 over like the past 6 months. It's not a ton, but I only cash that out every once in a while when it starts to build up. I made $8.06 and $34.56 off of Facebook/Instagram. They pay me when I upload content there sometimes. Once again, very little amounts, but that's okay. And then I made $41 and $15.67 off of Etsy, which is pretty much my budgets. Once again, linked below. So that brought in a total of $687 for Budget Girl. And then I have usually about $500 a month of expenses for Budget Girl. That is my website hosting. That is my video editors. That is Flowdesk, G Suite, etc. Just like the basic things that I need to pay for while still doing most things myself. It's that video editing. Hi, video editors. Thank you, video editors. But this month I went to FinCon, which is a money conference that I've been to before and really love. I got to see some of my very wonderful friends, and we even shot some content there. And to attend this conference, I spent a total of $1,540. That is the $157 on food, $587 on hotel, $190 on the flight, $192 on some little stickers to hand out. And then over here, I've got the breakdown of I spent $156 on food. And then I spent $60 on parking, $153 on lifts, etc. And that's the list of all the lifts there. So that's how much it cost me to go to FinCon. Honestly, worth every penny. It was a great little break from the real world. And I always get so inspired going to places like that where there are other people who've been doing this for longer than I have and some newer. And it's just great to meet people. So if you haven't already seen some videos from that, you should. I'll link the video that I did with some of the OG YouTube friends that I've had, which was Marissa Lida, the budgeting wife, Kellyanne Smith from Freedom in a Budget, and Whitney Hansen. I've been friends with them for years, and we got to sit down and do a video on how we've changed. We all started out very low income, high debt, and then over time, we've increased our income, we've gotten rid of our debt, and we live very different lives now. What we spend on now, what we find worth it, and what we are still giant cheapskates about. So I'll link that video below as well. It was really fun to shoot. And it's so nice to see how far those ladies have come and reflect on how far I've come. It's been a journey, yo. Oof. All right, so my take home from Budget Girl this month was negative $1,364, and that's fine. I will pull that from savings. It was an experience, and I can write it off on my taxes, which doesn't mean I'll get it back. It just means I'll be taxed on less. I already don't make a ton of money off of Budget Girl, but that's not the point. The point is to have fun community where we get to talk about money and encourage each other. Let's move on to what I generally try to think makes me more money, which is my duplexes, my Budget Girl properties. So you guys, if you were here for the last one, or if you saw my last video, you'll see that my tenant at my old duplex, one of them didn't pay and hasn't paid for 3 months and has been late for 6 months. I finally had to evict them. They had excuse after excuse. I'd given extension after extension. I'd given payment plans. There came a point where they were getting so behind. They owe me almost $5,000, not including damages, and they just weren't leaving. I gave them a 30-day pair quit last month. They didn't leave. I finally had to file a court eviction order, which is like $180. And I'm going to keep complaining about that because that's just salt in the wound, man. But that did scare them a little, I guess, because they actually moved out. I still went to court. I got the default judgment because they didn't show up, that they owe me the money and that they have to get out. They've gotten out. And my last video previous to this one shows how they left the place, which could have been worse, but wasn't great. And all of my expenses and the process of moving forward with that. I don't wish them any ill will, but I am going to attempt to recover the money through collections. They will probably never see that money. They'll probably get like a bankruptcy or something. So my income for this property was only $1,550, which is not that big a deal because the mortgage on this property is $1,651. I also pay for a mowing service, so that was a $50 expense that month. And then the eviction filing was $185. I also got some new fire alarms when I did the unit inspection for the paying tenant, and I had to buy some new keys to rekey the unit that was vacated. So my expenses for this property were $1,975 for a month, which is a negative $425. But it'll be okay. We budget that in when we own property. You have a big duplex emergency fund, which we'll get to. Next, this property, the one that I'm in now, my tenant on that side pays $1,350. That's all inclusive of lawn, gas, power, everything. And then on this side, Jacob pays $700 towards the overall rent and everything like that. The total brought in is $2,050, and the mortgage is $2,094. Like I said, I pay like $50 a month or $44 a month to this, but I don't put that in my top budget because why would I? So my total for this month for both properties is negative $469.88, and that's okay. That's why we have a duplex emergency fund. And more fees are coming because they did about $1,500 worth of damage to the old unit. I think they had a fish tank or something because they completely ruined the floors in one of the rooms. Go check out that video to see all of my plans on that. In fact, that's a Home Depot box. That is stuff for the unit that I'm going to work on this weekend. That'll be fun. All right, so let's go to kind of my totaling out box here. Brought in $9,529 minus $3,500 my normal living life day-to-day expenses, minus $2,050 in budget girl expenses, minus $4,069 in property expenses, means my total take home is negative $115.10, which is right about what I overcalculated from before. And I had already brought over $266 from savings to cover the overage that I had. But since we just caught ourselves, which is wonderful, I would much rather catch myself overcharging myself than undercharging myself. I still have $150, which means I'll just put that back into my savings. So we were in the red this month by whatever 266, by like $115. But that's okay. We have savings to cover these months. And I feel like I'm very lucky that even when a tenant didn't pay, even when I had to travel, I'm not horribly overdrawn on my budget. Let's go ahead and move over to my net worth tracker, which helps me kind of see the forest through the trees. I used to just track my monthly budget, and I was really hard on myself because I felt like like any little mistake, I'm like, I could have been doing so much better. But the net worth tracker puts everything into a line. It shows all of our account balances, everything, all of our assets, all of our debts. And I've been able to kind of see my net worth tick up over the years, which is just great and very encouraging. I highly encourage you to do it, even if not every month, at least like every 6 months, every year. It's good to see your overall financial picture like this. So in my first checking account, this is my main one, I have $8,038 in it. And then in my duplex checking account right now, I have $3,383 in it. So that as bills come in and out, there's plenty of money there to get charged. However, I am shifting some of my money stuff because I've started using a new app called Crew. They are a banking and budgeting app that is a high yield checking account. Now, if you've been watching personal finance videos for a while, that's going to blow your mind like it did mine, because we've been harping, all of us money nerds have been harping on high yield savings account for years. If you just have like a regular local bank, they're probably giving you like 0.01% interest on your money in your savings account, and they are using it to make bank. And then, several years ago, some banks, mostly online banks, started offering high yield savings accounts. And all of us started screaming, put your money in a high yield savings account. It helps offset inflation. Every day your money is getting slightly less valuable, especially if you've got like $10,000 plus sitting in an emergency fund in a bank and not invested. Any money that you have sitting there, and I like to keep, as you can see, a decent amount of money accessible because of old money fears. And it feels like a hug to have it available, even if I don't need it, okay? Crew offers interest on all your accounts on your checking. So I've had a high yield savings account for years, and that's great. My emergency fund down here is in Wealthfront, and it gets like, 3-something%. It changes based on federal rate, but I've never had a checking account where I'm earning interest on my money. And as you can see, I've got like 10 plus grand in here. I could be making money off of that each month. So Crew is FDIC insured, and they offer right now a 3.5% APY, which is great. Also, if you use my code BudgetGirl, I'll also have the link below, you get an extra 0.5% interest for 3 months. So I've started to transfer a lot of my money, especially like my sinking funds and stuff, to Crew because they'll pay me to have the money there, even in the checking account. They also have an absolute ton of really cool features. If you're less of a line-by-line budget person, more of like a bucket type of person, they have budgeting systems built into the app that you can use them or not use them, but they essentially have little pockets where you can say like, hey, this is my savings pocket, or hey, this is my sinking fund for this, or hey, this is my fund money. And then what they actually let you do with your debit card is you can use the app on your phone and be like, the next time I swipe my card in a second, I want it to come out of fund money, or I want it to come out of this. And it's just cool, okay? So try Crew, look into it, do your own research, but I haven't heard of any other high yield checking accounts, and I'm pretty dang psyched about it, okay? So the info on the screen and below, but I'm totally sold on it. And they've got a bunch of other features that are rolling out but it's new, it's cool. I've met the owners of this app. They are amazing. They're like, no one's done this before just because they're greedy, essentially. Banks should be paying you to keep your money there everywhere in all of your accounts. I think this is going to be like the next thing. I think more banks are going to start offering it, but right now I'm pretty sure only Crew does it. So try it out. I'll keep reporting back, but I love it so far. Absolutely love it. So emergency fund in a high yield checking account with Wealthfront is right here, $44,000. And then my short-term savings, I actually cleared that out. And I have duplex emergency fund is $10,000. So that is where I get some of like that's where I pay for the mortgage when people don't pay the rent and trash the place or the weather happens. I had to do a new roof this year and that wasn't fun, but I had the money for it, which is yay. A lot of people get very discouraged when they have to tap their emergency funds, but that was its job. That means that you didn't have to take on debt to deal with an emergency happening. That is a win. And yes, you have to build it back up, but you know what? I built it back up. You can see earlier in the year, it got down to $1,000 and $3,000. I built it back up. You'll get there. It's so much better than having to take on debt and pay interest on it. It saved me. It was there. It did its job. I'm proud of it. I'm proud of me. Okay, moving on. Let's see. So savings total is $54,000. And then I have a few fun funds. $888 is in my fun fund in Crew. And then $67 is in my car insurance sinking fund, also in Crew. And then my wedding fund, which Jacob also has access to, is currently at $5,931. And so my sinking funds, I have a total of just under $7,000, and my total cash and savings is $73,121. The budget girl that started this channel would mind blown. So proud. Having a retrospective day. Next, let's move on to my retirement contributions. And I only started contributing to retirement 9 years ago when I started at Texas A&M, pretty much. And I only started doing the Roth after I got out of debt. And now I just started the brokerage this year. You can see right here, my brokerage account. I started that this year in April. So we get there, we move forward. So as you can see, my brokerage account is at $16,601, which is great. I've been tossing everything extra I have into there, and it has seen so much growth this year. It was definitely a great time to do it. I dollar cost average, but when the market took a dip right here, I was like, you know what, let's start transferring some money over. Let's take the chance. I'm still young. I can take the chance. And then in my Texas A&M retirement account, I have $38,500. In my Roth IRA, I have $63,421. And then in an old IRA, I've got $12,744. My total investments are $131,000, and my total liquid assets are just over $200,000, which is very exciting. Next, let's move on to my property assets. My first duplex is worth about $350 now. I bought it for $230,000 back in 2020. Property has gone insane, and I argue the property taxes every single year because this would be a lot higher if it wasn't. And then this place is worth about $272,000, and I estimate my car is worth about $5,000-ish. So total assets are $831,377. That is getting real close to millionaire if I didn't have debts, just saying. But I do have some debts on this place. I've got a $202,000 mortgage on property 1 and a $231,000 mortgage on property 2, which is this one, totaling my debts to $434,174. And my net worth is just under $400,000. I thought it might be. I forget until I see the numbers in front of my face. It just immediately wipes out on my brain. Yeah, I'm at $397,204. And that is actually a net worth change of $6,000 from last month, 100% due to investments, because as you saw, I went negative for the month. So it's nice to be able to see this and how my money that I've invested is working for me behind the scenes, even when things on the day-to-day might not be going quite as planned. So that is my completely transparent budget and net worth as of like a couple of days ago. I hope this inspired you to track your money. I am a firm believer in have a budget, make a money plan. We master what we manage. It might not look like this. It might not look like a spreadsheet. It could be an app. It could be a pencil and paper. I don't care. Whatever works for you and your brain, because our brains all work just a little differently. And that's beautiful. Just figure out what works for you and what you can do long term, because you'll see just magnificent things happen. Very exciting. And be better prepared to weather any storms. All right, thank you guys so much for watching. I'm sorry this was a long one, but please subscribe if you haven't already. I am so very close to 100K, and the button, when I get it, that play button, it's gonna go right there. It's gonna go right there, and we can all enjoy it. We can all look at it. I'm not gonna lie, it's gonna be mostly me that enjoys it, but I've been working for 10 plus years for this, so I want it real bad. If you're willing to help me, and I know you don't give away subscribes for free, but if at any point in today's video I made you laugh a little or made you smile, maybe you'll gift me that subscribe from you, and I would be eternally grateful. All right, I will see you guys in the next one. Check out my last video where I walk through, and I'll have some other ones on the screen that you might be interested in, also below. Try Crew for high yield checking accounts. Make money off your money. I'm just saying, it's free money. All right, I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.